So let's get to it. Page 16, Horus and Seth. And I think the last time we got as far as here, where Horus is being announced as the king. We had lots of discussion around his epithets, his titles, or how he's characterized as the king. You are the good king of Tamerit. You are, and then here it gets tricky. The Lord of Beauty, question mark. The Lord of Anhuja Seneb, the beauty or goodness of the land, of the entire land. We went quite a bit around that term, which is disputed in the literature, what it means the last time. But in any case, forever and ever, basically. Risha'ah Inich Kanajet. And I think that's where we left it last time. I would say let's
Right,
just
with Isis' speech.
Isis' speech. Do you want to take it?
I can try. So, Iset Ash Sagabu. And Eset
Oh,
Hair.
I should write down, right? I'm sorry. I'm negligent in my duties here. Hang on. Where were we? Hey.
So Iset. Oh, still.
There we go. Second attempt. Transliteration. And you had
Iset.
Aha-N, right? First off, Aha-N.
Aha-N. Iset.
Iset.
Ash.
Sagabu.
Sagabu.
That's right. Aha.
Nsa. Set. Hair.
Set.
I guess
Set.
That's what it says. Hair and Jed. Tuk.
And Jed.
Jed Tuk.
Tuk.
Nesut.
Actually, there's an M, right? M Nesut, yeah.
Nesut. Nefrut. Nefer. Ebe.
Did I hear Ebe?
You did hear an Ebe. I'm trying to figure out the snake afterwards.
Yeah. So who could the snake be? This is, by the way, a tricky part. If the T wasn't there, if the T and the egg both weren't there, and it was just the snake.
Could say Wajet or something like that, but
could be. Or I mean, masculine gods get a bird on a stick, and feminine gods get
a called cobra.
That's right. So this is generally read as Ebi, but the question is, what on earth is the T doing in there? Because Ib doesn't have exactly what Ib doesn't have a T in it, so that is kind of weird. If it were Hati or something, right? For heart, that would make a whole lot more sense.
What?
Yeah, I know.
When have they ever written that first person in this entire text? They've never written the first person suffix that way. Could it just be a miswriting of Isis? They just left off the set, Cliff? And it would be the heart of Isis?
It could.
I mean, it doesn't make sense. She'd be using her own name, referring to herself, but I'd buy that before I'd buy a first person suffix.
Unless she's read a whole lot of Caesar recently and takes to talking about herself in the third person. But yeah, it's a bit weird. I couldn't find it either, though.
I was trying to make it into Isis too, but
and honestly, I mean, I just the explanation I gave with the cobra normally showing up as a determinative for gods. Well, that's what it is, as a determinative for gods, but not necessarily as a pronoun. I don't recall seeing that either, to be honest. Although, hang on, we can take a quick look if there's any other example for this. Because remember, oops, that's cute. TLA, thesaurus. TLA has spellings now. So we could take a look at. I'm not sure if they have morphemes though as a category. We'll find out.
Okay, so Ramses does have it as the first person pronoun.
Who has it?
Ramses Online.
So do Ellie and the TLA as well.
So that's the standard interpretation, but
it seems to be. I didn't check Gardner. Annoying. So the pronoun is not broken out here as something you can look up, unfortunately. Okay, that doesn't help. Nice idea.
try EB maybe, or
say again, EB?
Yeah.
Well, you could use the old TLA for this, I suppose.
Is it the first person pronoun suffix in a special case when it refers to a female subject? Is that what's happening? A female goddess subject?
That is
versus like would be a woman, seated woman.
The problem with that is that in this text, she has used the word I many, many times, and it's never been written this way.
Oh, I see. Okay. So what did they use a bird on the stick for it, or what did they use?
I feel like they've used B1. I feel like she's used B1 a lot.
Okay.
Not she didn't write it. I mean, the scribe used B1.
Right. To represent my referring to her, which is like a lot of pronouns that.
So the argument we're not sure we're buying is that it's this pronoun, but there's been some register change to reflect the new status of her son, and so now she's more divine, or she's a protective goddess of kingship now because Horus has been crowned, and so she gets a different determinative for her.
Yeah.
But I like this theory. It makes sense.
Does it though? I mean, wait. So here's the problem in my mind is that it is so close to the way they write her name that it really just feels like we're missing a set.
Yeah,
we're just missing the biliteral.
That also makes sense. I think they're both valid. I mean, it also depends on like how much of a mistake would it be for the scribe to leave out that huge vertical for her name.
I mean, the only excuse I can.
The set's not big though. Like
it's not, and also after the ebe, we have a Z1 stroke, which sort of evokes the set. It's almost like visually you can see that vertical line where the set would be, which is sort of part of it. I don't know. See, look.
So maybe they could have gotten confused in the hieratic.
That could also be.
Yeah.
See, compare that with the full writing, which is just earlier in the line. It's really only a very small difference.
True. I mean,
right after the aha, and you can see the set. Yeah.
Yeah.
So compare those two.
It looks a lot. I mean, it would explain why the completely unmotivated T and the egg. That doesn't make any sense.
Which have nothing to do with the suffix pronoun.
Right.
Now, however, for so I found it in the TLA. Apparently, the trick is to use the equal sign. And that way you seem to get pronouns, which is cool. I didn't know that. No trick. So a lot of those which are what you would expect, namely our A1 man, then the A2 man for good measure, gods, of course, plenty of gods, or honorable deceased people or worthy people here, basically. We have a few female figures, but then somewhere here, let me scroll down.
There it is.
Let's see what the two sources are. Let's hope it's not our text. So this one here,
E. There we go.
So this one's pretty clear. And
used twice.
Used twice? I only see one.
Is that both references? Like it's the same line, but it's Iran E, with also spelled with a cobra.
There's slightly different cobras in that same line.
Oh, you're right. Jeez, completely missed that. So yeah, two different ones. Interesting. So this is one, Stila.
Who's speaking?
Okay, sentence in context. I love the TLA. Is there a first page? Yes.
There's a lacuna, so we may not know.
You would think it's a goddess. So first, the owner of the stela is greeting Isis, or Isis. Can't say Isis anymore after everything that happened. It just feels so weird. I'm guessing she responds at some point in time.
Yeah, it's gone. Oh. But it could be Isis, I guess.
Presumably. I mean, this is who's being addressed here in the first part of the stela. Okay. Well, let's see what the other one is. Oh, I guess that's the same stela. That's the same stela. So for whatever reason, they did not include our text, and the reason may be that's a different cobra, maybe? Let's see, do we have more cobra? Oh, no, here.
Oh, look at that. What must be ours.
There is a T. There's a lot of T's.
With the egg also.
Wow. Why T? I mean, truth be told, in Coptic, the first person singular often turns into a T as an object on the infinitive. Why? I think that's the old infinitive T coming through, I think. So I wonder if that is sort of... This doesn't make any sense. For example, magical text, Nectar Nebo, so that's older, that's newer, right? So, but or they take this as a vowel marker, which would be really wild.
That's really interesting. It's like a silent T in French, kind of.
Yeah, and then you reinterpret that to be, I mean, this is really late, 358 to 340. I mean, there's certainly no, I don't know, I don't want to say there's certainly no T pronouns because you get that in Coptic, but for example, my mouth would be roi, wouldn't be rot or something. You only get that T with verbs, I thought. Is that true? I'm not completely sure. There are a few suffix pronouns left. I thought it's mostly an E sound. Well, be that as it may, just looking at that list here, it seems to be a thing with a T, as much as I don't like it. And this is really confusing. A two?
Two?
I mean, let's take a quick look at that. At least
these are so discouraging. A T as a first person suffix. I give up. Come on, man.
You've probably seen it all, right?
Like they didn't want to write the whole determinative, so they just did a little bread loaf.
Yeah, but still, it is kind of weird, isn't it? I wonder if there's some phonological reality to that sometimes. Okay, I mean, since we're on a bunny ride, right?
When in Rome, or when in Egypt, I guess.
Say that again?
Just a dumb joke. I just said when in Rome, or I guess when in Egypt. Dumb joke.
Languages, Coptic. Sorry, trying to get my bearings here. Why don't we use what would be good? I'm looking for any kind of basic grammar. Good old Plumley, maybe. Suffix, pronouns, does that? The normal ending E falls away when the noun stem ends in T, right? So if you have a T in the word, then the T jumps in as an ending, basically. Some verbs having a pronominal form with R as the final letter take T as the suffix ending. Like, for example, ta'at, that's what I was thinking of. Like, di to give me becomes ta'at. So you have a T suddenly come out, which I think is just the old infinitive ending that used to be followed by a vowel. So it would be something like ta'ati, and then the E becomes silent, and you just have a T being left over. I don't think does that ever happens. Does that ever happen, sorry, with nouns? Nouns, here we go.
What about the arcade example that was in that same section?
Yeah, what example?
I guess they were taking arche as a verb, so maybe that's not the same.
I just didn't catch which verb you meant, sorry.
Oh, arche, I thought it was. So the bit you were reading before about the verbs with the
let's
ta'at.
see. Sorry.
There was an arche example, which could be a noun in Greek.
Where do you see it? Ah, here. Oh,
arage. That's a different word.
Arage, yeah.
Oh, end, not beginning. Okay.
Yeah. I don't know. I can't quite make sense out of it yet, honestly. I don't know if this here ever happens with nouns, but I'm more inclined to think it could just be maybe a spelling thing, because very often the T stands for a final vowel. So maybe they just reverse that psychology and suddenly start to put it for a final vowel.
Why is it thou for second person?
Why not?
Are they archaizing in this grammar? Or?
Oh, no, that's I mean, a lot of grammars do that, right? To somehow
Are they trying to distinguish singular second person in English?
Right. It's the only way that we have, right? To tell them.
Well, it's also familiar versus formal, right? So
say that again. I'm sorry.
Isn't thee and thou the familiar form of second person? Yes. So there's two axes. There's like we use the same singular and plural, and we use the formal form for everything now. But we used to have a singular informal.
We used to have a singular informal. Yes.
Yes.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, that's the same with in Latin, in Romance languages, right? But hey, I'm gonna pull us back from the bunny, right?
I know. I don't know. I see that a lot in translations from the early 20th century because they're trying to make it sound biblical.
Oh, yeah, you're right. But then I think
the fact that it's Coptic and so it's talking about Christianity means you have to use thee, thou. So it sounds like the King James Bible.
Gotcha.
And it's got nothing to do with the grammar at all.
No, I've seen it a lot though for like for example for Egyptian, but also for some other languages from the area, I think, to use thou and thee just to imitate the Egyptian. I guess the biblical part helps.
They also do that with older translations from Greek and Latin that have nothing to do with the Bible, besides being in Greek maybe originally. But sometimes it's just, if it's a verse translation, it adds sort of a poetic King James translation character to it. So it's kind of wishful thinking in some ways.
Right.
All right.
So anyway, we have the Ebe either of Isis or her saying my heart, depending on how you want to interpret that. Whether we're missing the set and it's Ebe set, or if we're interpreting the T as a third person, as a first person pronoun. So it's Ebe.
I would propose let's go with the Ebe, just following general scholarship, since we don't have a smoking gun that's other.
I'm with Aaron. I think it's ESAT. Anyway, whatever it is, it's Resut. Reshut.
I'll put both there. Okay, all right. M Reshut, yeah.
M Resut, right. Yeah.
I lost my trusted transliteration keyboard. Here we go. That is good. Yes. Let's continue a sentence, I would say.
And then Sehej, Ek, Sehejek, Ta.
Sehejek, Ta.
Inu, Ek.
That's right. Sehejek, Ta. It's really in, huh? I wanted to make it E-win, but there is no W there. Okay, let's look that up in a moment. I thought it was a EWN. Let's do it right away.
It may well be, but that's what it says.
I could be wrong. I'm judging from Coptic, where it becomes Awin. And since I'm not sure how to spell it, I'll take a cop out here.
So you think it's YOWN?
Let's see.
There it is.
There you go.
There's a win.
Why is it? Never mind. So this is sort of what I was expecting. But then you wait. The fish is not.
Fish is E. It's written Enu, but clearly there's a little bit of a
right
flip flop.
Let's take a quick look at.
Maybe we should look at Lesko.
Good idea. You have it handy?
Nope.
Okay, hang on. I have it somewhere.
Sorry, I'm traveling.
Oh, gotcha. Let's go. Late Egyptian. That goes. So we want. Oh, we got a feline visitor.
There was a fish.
That is a fish, okay. Yeah.
I don't know if it's the right word or not, but
yeah, I mean the fish I would translate as as reed leaf N.
Yeah.
Pretty sure about that.
Yep.
So you check under EEN and under EUN, I guess.
Yeah, I was going to look under EWN first. So I think that's the root of the word. Here we go. Here we go. Ewen confere inu. So apparently two different spellings. Ewen. It becomes Awin in Coptic, so it means color there. Apparently it also has the meaning character in late Egyptian.
This is just a metathesis?
It could be, huh? Although it's an odd one, huh?
It is an odd one.
Oh. I guess I'll live with it for the moment. Where were we? Over here.
Okay. So, EUN.
Yes, sir. And how about I just do this? Okay, cool. What do you make out of it?
Okay, so then Isis gave a great cry. To her son. I guess the Seth there is just S as the suffix pronoun.
That's right.
Her son Horus. So Imjed Tuk, I was having trouble with, I guess. Okay, you're splitting. You put a colon there, so you're splitting also. So you gave a great cry, saying. I forget what all the different twos are, but something about you are as a good king, or you will be a good king.
You are. I think
you are a good king. And my heart, or the heart of Isis, is glad or rejoicing. May you illuminate the lands with your character.
Right. Could be that, I guess. Or if this is more Middle Egyptian-y, then it could also be, I guess, as you're illuminating. That's what I really want to say, as you're illuminating the land with your appearance or your character.
So with my hawk lens on, you're saying it might be a circumstantial clause and not just a perspective.
Sorta. If she's addressing him in in pseudo Middle Egyptian, right?
Right.
I really don't know. Otherwise, it may be, like you said, in straightforward Late Egyptian, if you see it such a map like that, it could only be you will or you may, basically. May you illuminate the land with your, which also makes sense, honestly. There could be a comma in between, and maybe I'm just making up the connection because I want to see it after so many. The people's heart is in joy as they see you rising in the sky and the like. There are all these praises of gods where that's just such a standard formula that that's what I want to see here. But those are written in Middle, not in Late Egyptian. So I'm not sure. Cool. Well done. Well, we managed to stretch one sentence out over 40 minutes. So I just think we don't want to close that text out, is my feeling.
We're arguing over the egg.
Right. Okie doke. So quick look at the hieratic. Beautiful Acha here. I don't know, somehow I just like that style. Then the Isis, which for me pretty much indicates that I could be wrong. I mean, no, he must have started with a new stroke here anyways, because he just went from red to black. So
Switch brushes, yeah.
This looked stronger to me, so I was wondering if that indicated like 1, 2, 3, but no, I can't tell. I still don't know. I always wonder, is it 1, 2, 3, or is it 1, 2, 3? The color difference makes me think that this comes last, 1, 2, 3, but what do I know? It's sort of like a gap from here to here. In any case, Isis, beautiful. Koba determinative, Ash, Sagab, or Sagabu, has a tooth at the end for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Aa, we have that. And Sa needs a bit of, I mean, that's not immediately obvious.
You kind of have to know that's there, yeah.
Right.
But it's like the paw bird, but without the wings.
It is. I mean, once you know what it is, it's like, oh yeah, that makes sense. But before that, you think like, what? It's a Xi? It's Greek. Then bird on a stick. Set or
hair, bird on a stick.
Jed, right?
Jed.
Took.
Nice ligature.
And so the Su here is not immediately obvious either, just because it's ligature, not ligatured, but it smears into, or it's connected to the following determinative stroke. But again, once you know, it's basically like a reed leaf with a horizontal. So Ensu or Ensut. Then Nefer, that's clear. Then here comes the Ib and the mysterious pronoun. The Ra is also a bit tricky. It's that other form of the R that comes on top of science, and that's like really big. Rashwet, I should say. This is a W with a T. And then what on earth is going on here? So he's ligaturing that into the nose of the person, and then come the two eyes. So it should really be something like this here, sort of. But it becomes more complicated because from the W, he goes into the T, comes up, and then he does this. So that's what's going on. Book roll and plural strokes, Sechaj. Yeah, I think that all makes sense. The K is barely visible, but it's there. Ta, with the dots underneath the ta being sort of looking like a Y. And our riverbank here completely diminutive. What comes after? M-E. The fish is interesting. What's going on with the fish here?
It's barely there.
That doesn't look like anything, does it? Oops, sorry about that. Anybody remember what the fish glyph is? I do not.
Isn't it in?
It's in, but unfortunately, this doesn't take.
Oh, which number? Yeah.
Which number? It doesn't take those. It does on the Japanese side. but this side is somewhat prettier. Come on.
K1?
Which K1?
K1?
Could be.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Or is it K5? One of the two.
Not sure.
Could be K1.
Looks like that.
Wow.
It's a lot of variation.
A lot of variation. And I mean, I would have expected something like this, right? Something very fish-like. But instead, you're getting something like this. Yeah, I don't even know.
That still looks kind of fish-like. I mean, you still get some of like the main details, like the top fin and the sort of direction of it.
You scroll down, I see they have ones that, that looks like ours.
It's just 3 lines.
And it's not ours. It's a different one.
It looks like ours though, because ours is over an N, so it almost looks like moo, because it's like
Yeah,
it does. You're right. It can even look like one apparently, but it doesn't have the second ear.
There's another one from the 20th Dynasty that looks kind of like a 2. I don't know, if it's like ours. Oh yeah, and also below.
This one, you're right. It looks a lot like it. So apparently that's just our fish. And then here's another variant. Huh. And then as usual,
just drew a fish. Those actually look like a fish. There.
When you get like into when they become super conservative again and like renaissance of the old forms, you get something that looks more fish-like than anything you had before. Amazing. Well, maybe with the exception of this. That's amazing.
I really like that one from Dynasty 18 with the 2 interlocking strokes.
This here, right?
One below that. That one, but then that one, like that's very simple, but it kind of, I mean, it doesn't look like a fish. It kind of looks like a crab or something, but I like how it has the same direction. It's a different way of drawing a fish. It's kind of, never thought of that.
It looks like a swallow.
Yeah, like a bird or a flying fish, maybe. Yeah. I don't think they had those, but.
Flying fish in Egypt? I don't know. Okay. Where was it? Oh, yeah. So
ours looks like none of them.
I mean, closest to that Moog-like variant, but yeah, you're right. That's kind of different. I mean, I guess that's the tail fin, and then this is the rest. Speculating, no idea, but that's how I'll try.
Yeah, it's like separated, or unless there's a very thin line between the middle part, but it looks like 3 separate strokes. I don't know.
It does.
The stroke on the bottom is the N. That's not part of the fish.
That's not part of the fish.
Oh, okay, got it.
So that makes
Thanks for clarifying. Yeah.
This here's the dorsal fin, and this is the fish proper? Question mark.
Huh.
Okay. Then the fish brought a jar, and then I guess this is the hairlock.
Wow, that's a complicated sign.
It is.
Visually.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, there's a K folded into it, so this part down here is the K. And so the thing itself, does this have color? Yes, it does. So the thing itself, I guess, is just this, and then honestly, the part that surprises me the most is that there's another one. I would have thought they would just do something like this, 1, 2, 3, basically, like in the hieroglyphs. But I see 1, 2, and then there's one more. Okay, I guess we'll look it up. So now we're on, that should be human.
E3.
E3?
Do you think the extra squiggle is to link the extra stroke on the end is to link, or continuation is to link it with as a ligature with the K?
It could be. Let's have a look.
Because the K is at a weird diagonal. I don't know if it's normally like that.
Often. Not always, but often. Now look at that.
Okay, so it could be.
Thing, actually. Look at that. So it could be 3 strokes, like I thought, but even 4 or 5. So I guess you have some... Look at that. That almost looks like a Henu animal. This year especially. Yeah. And that looks really like it was Okay. Why can I not use this? Here we go. I mean, this is what our Mgeno animal typically looks like, right? I think it's 3 strokes. Maybe it's 4. Not completely sure. The bee is also done like this, but the bee has the wings. This looks pretty much the same. Interesting. So, oops, I took the text away. Oh, yeah. Will live. Wow. Lots of variation in the hair glyph. Then ultimately something like this.
They brushed the hairs together, and now they're like a single hair.
Yeah, that when you get to the end, right? But in between you have this complicated branching here. Fascinating. It's not that common a glyph, but there's an amazing amount of variation. Okay, cool. So that's that. So the 3 strokes are real. And then the K, that's not so uncommon. I mean,
it's just kind of weird that it overlaps with the W as well.
Over here, right? Yeah. It makes it more complex.
Yeah.
I mean, often they like to do something like this or just a straight line. But especially in vertical sign combinations, they also like to do this, like, or even straight down, like here.
Oh, cool.
All occur. Cool.
So I just wanted to say on the ISIS point again, it seems like they forgot the K at the end of the previous line, and so they wrote it in later in red as a correction. Right next to where
I was wondering about why that was the only red glyph in there.
Yeah. Oh, yes, you're right.
Yes, there's a gardener alert. Gardener alert.
Okay.
Added later in red.
That makes sense.
Nice.
I didn't even catch that, but you're
pretty
right.
much exactly what you think.
So somebody went through and corrected it. They corrected that, but they didn't see a problem with the snake.
I thought it was just the scribe. You see how it's right on top of this? I think as he's writing that, he was probably going like, "Oh crap, I forgot something," and he didn't change color.
Well, he has the red ink out. Well, I'm just kidding. I think they had red and black as part of their palette, so they could switch between them. But yeah,
right. Yeah. Otherwise, I mean, I'm surprised he didn't do black, unless I don't want to imagine that.
Unless, as you say, they only noticed while they were writing the when, put it in there. But
yeah, that was sort of. But then, wouldn't you switch back to black? Why would you continue with red and make it so obvious?
I think I corrected with red earlier too. So.
Yeah.
Oh, he did?
Well, there are several other sort of outside the line things in red.
So. Oh, you know what? Actually, you're right. You're right. So maybe it is a correction scenario. Huh.
I know that some school, not this virus, but some school virus, there are like infamous scribal corrections by like a teacher or something that are in red ink, and so it's like not much has changed. They're kind of memes now. So
yes, you're right. There's that writing, the famous writing tablet that shows that. It's not the only one. And I mean, in addition to the lines, if we want to do some extra Horus and Seth after this, I'm still preparing our materials for that. And for example, here they have plenty of, that's the Papyrus Jimilyak, plenty of notes. There's some demotic notes, annotations to the text. Then down here, he forgot half a line and he just basically squeezed it in at the bottom. And yeah,
so gotta love it.
Such things happen. And you see, I'm trying to add verse points just to make it easier to parse. But yeah, we'll get there. Where was I? Cool. 8 minutes to finish the papyrus. Should we? So, one more sentence. Come on, we can do it.
So when in peta, aha, resu kenbet, is that right?
Oh boy, maybe I shouldn't transcribe because I'm not completely sure either. I may need.
Debet.
I'm pretty sure it's his name, so it's Beta, the great of his ward or something.
Resi Ineb,
right?
Ineb, that's right.
Renin, Betach, and then Resi like this or Resi like that. I'm so confused. Inab. Okay. Yeah.
South of his wall.
South of his wall, okay.
In Bef, right? In
Yes.
Bef.
Yeah.
In Bef. Okay.
Sneb Ankh Tawi Herjed.
Yes, I guess that's right.
Is the living lord of the land?
It could be, right? It could be. Yeah.
Or Lord of the Living Lands.
That.
Lord of the Living. Yeah, okay, yeah, that makes more sense. Lord of the human world, yeah.
Could be.
Herjed.
Right?
So upon saying, what, pa, enti, what's this which? And EU2, is that a standard EU or is that a EU2 award, or is it?
The next one here gives you a clue as to what that is. So this is your form here. EU2R. It does the whole thing in color. Interesting. Okay.
Is it just one? So EU1?
So EU can be a few different things. Can be a circumstantial. It can be what else? It can be that historical thing that we see all the time. But if it is followed by a pronoun or by an R, it's something very specific. In Coptic, it would become eye, eke, efe, ere, etc.
Is this a third future?
It is the third future. That's right. It's a third future. So U2 is a third future.
Okay. It didn't help me much, but okay.
I'm sorry. Which part are you confused about? Maybe I missed
Just what general what it means.
okay. So it's a way how to form the future. Like for example, UERED, I am going to do. It's literally like the U carries the pronoun, and then the R means toward, and then comes the verb. So UER something something. For example, Sejim, I am towards hearing. I will hear. Or in this case, U2 and iref. So the two means one, right? So U2 iref.
Ja, iref en sutte. Her Maki.
Yeah, right. Maki, I guess.
D2. Something.
Oopsie. The transcription is all over the place, yeah.
D2 Hor. Set en it. En set en it. Usir. Or Asir.
Isir, Wisir, however you want to transcribe it. Perfect.
Yeah. So then Ptah, Lord of the Living Land, said, what shall we do about Seth?
Literally, he says, what is it that one shall do about Seth? But, I mean, colloquially, you're right. What shall we do about Seth? And then?
And
her.
let's give Horus his throne of his father.
Not quite. You're close. What's Mech by itself?
Is it behold or is it brave?
Behold.
We're missing the her before Mech.
Thank you.
For Mech.
Where am I missing it?
Sute her Mech.
Oh yes. Thank you. So there's a little and or because or something. Hermek and
behold, give Horus towards the place of his father, or the crown of his seat of his father.
What would be give, though, if you wanted to say give imperative?
Isn't just D?
It would be D in Coptic sometimes, but more commonly it's Ma. And the old form of Ma is Imi. We just had that in chapter 21.
Okay. Yeah, give cause, yeah. Okay.
So if this were an imperative, it would have to be imi. Imi hör set in EDC. It isn't. Instead, it's an inflected form. It's D followed by a 2. So if it were in D2, but if it were DN, like N as in N plus plural strokes.
So give 2 Horus then for that.
What if it had been this, basically? Trying to make you think about what verb form that probably is.
I don't know.
Okay. Let me ask this way. If you have the verb by itself and then inflected with a suffix pronoun, what is that grammatically speaking?
I really don't know. I'm not sure.
Fine, no worries. It's a ZMF. And it could be a so back to our D2. You could think, may we give Horus? Yes, possible. May one give Horus? But more likely with the chur, which often has like a meaning like because. I would translate this as because Horus has been given, or because Horus has been given the seat of his father Osiris. So basically the question becomes, okay, now we've made Horus the king. What do we do with what shall we do with Seth now that the office of the king has been given to Horus? I think that's how I would take it. Does that resonate with everybody else or any other alternatives? Thumbs up? Okay. So yeah, that makes the most sense to me. That's a logical question. I mean, they both have been competing for the same office. I don't think that too many other job descriptions out there. So the obvious question becomes what to do with Stich. Seems to be out of a job now. So we can address that in 2 weeks together with the other remaining 4 lines. And yeah, thanks so much as always,
what
guys.
form is that?
Sorry,
what form is that?
I think it's just a
Is
past
it
tense.
passive?
I think it's a past tense HMF. Although
Okay.
the one thing that gives me a bit of pause, and I looked that up after
Okay.
we're done, is the double D. Because honestly, that has
Past tense ZMF used as passive voice, sort of.
I mean, the 2 would be one has given, so it actually wouldn't require a passive because the 2 is already there.
Okay.
But you know what? Give me 1 extra minute and I'll just look it up real quick.
I was going to say, I thought it was a participle, because sometimes in Middle Egyptian, I mean, I know it's not Middle Egyptian, but sometimes you mark a participle with this gemination like this with this verb form.
I had the same issue that looking at that, I thought the passive is normally spelled with the perfective passive ZMF is normally spelled with a double arms, and that's also what Nevers has. But this looks active to me. One has given. So I'm wondering how that should be spelled. To be very honest, I mean, I would have expected this. I thought you were going to see, and I apologize, I don't have the right font here, but something like that is what I was expecting. Like D with a W for the. So I was thinking you would get like D. Oops. 2 basically. That was sort of what I was expecting. So the double D here also threw me off. And if it were without the T, it could be a perfect passive ZMF. Or, to your point, could that be some kind of participle? But no, not, or a stative or something, but no, not really, because if it were a stative, the Horus would come before the stative, right? And that's not the case.
Could be subjunctive. May one who has given Haru, or pointed Haru.
Oof, now I'm.
Nah.
In context, though, none of that makes any sense.
It makes sense being a passive.
Yeah.
Or rather, honestly, an active with an undetermined subject, because.
Right. One give. Right. One has given. Yeah.
I'm taking a quick look here at Shirley Grohl, what they're always very good at having all the possible spellings. Perfect active setepef. Just to see if that is a, for whatever reason, I don't see it. This may have to be a follow-up, I'm afraid. But yeah, that spelling, I also looked at that, thought, this is kind of unexpected. What's going on here? Let's make that a follow-up in the chat if anybody has anything on it.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Cool. Thanks, guys. See you. Yeah.
Yeah.
See you soon. Have a good weekend.
Thank you. Have a good weekend, everybody.